Welcome to Viewing and Reviewing, where I pull older movies off the shelf, watch them, and let you know if I believe they're worth your time to watch or not. I'm Bobby T, your online video store clerk, and I'll be searching through my VHS, DVD, and Blu-ray collection to find titles that I think may be interesting to review. In today's episode, I'll be reviewing 2003's Open Range, which is directed by Kevin Costner, and it stars Costner, Robert Duvall, and Annette Bening. Let me read you the DVD cover. Packed with epic action, Open Range is a powerfully gripping story that's never been told until now, and stars Academy Award winners Robert Duvall and Kevin Costner, and Academy Award nominee Annette Bening. A group of free grazers, four men trying to escape their past, are driving cattle and living off the land on the open range, a place where nature makes the only laws. When a ruthless, evil rancher tries to run them out of town, the men's peaceful existence takes a tumultuous turn and ends in the grittiest, most explosive gunfight on film, as two men battle a town for honor, justice, and a way of life that's quickly disappearing. Now, I watched this film last month because I kept seeing it on several greatest westerns of all time lists, and I didn't remember it being all that awesome from when I saw it years ago. But after seeing it again, I realized that I was wrong. This is a good movie. You're watching the trailer and you're seeing some good scenes, but don't worry, there are a bunch of scenes that aren't in the trailer that exemplify why this film would be considered a classic western. In Open Range, we're treated to actual filth and slogging through mud rivers. We see actors that actually look like they didn't take a bath for months and are from the Old West. Robert Duvall plays the same old-style herd boss that he's played dozens of times. He's pretty much the same character in Lonesome Dove, and that's a really good thing. Kevin Costner directed the film, but unlike Dances with Wolves, he isn't a hayseed figuring out life as it happens on the plains, and he doesn't become an honorary Sioux Indian by the end. The seldom-speaking Costner in this film has seen it all and has a wicked, dangerous past that shows up later in the film that even Duvall doesn't know about, and they've been writing together for a decade. Annette Bening as the love interest isn't by default. Costner has to actually woo her without actually being romantic. It's all kinds of authentic, and she plays the middle-aged spinster to perfection. But the best is left for last. I saw this week a list of the top 25 shootouts of all films by Slacker online. Believe it or not, this film ranked near the top against such all-time classics as Heat and The Wild Bunch. I believe a lot of it has to do with not only the flawless choreography of an actual shootout in the Old West. The face-off in the street that leads to the bloody shootout is as startling a beginning to a gunfight as I've ever seen in a Western. But it's the sheer hatred and desperation of our underdog heroes that simply don't care whether they live or die while facing overwhelming firepower from sinister land barons and their hired guns blazing. The fight also goes on for nearly the entire last act, with much of the town getting in on the action as well. Our heroes have to find cover to reload. They're hit and have to mend themselves. The bad guys can actually hit what they're shooting at. Surprising. There is collateral damage that actually means something in the Old West. And it's a pleasure to watch. So, my overall report card of the film, it looks like this. Does it stand the test of time? This should be considered a Western classic, up there with Best Picture Oscar winner Unforgiven. A+. Westerns are an old genre, and although this film feels like you'd want to dust off your boots while you're watching, that's a really good thing. The story. We've seen it all. It fits a few. It actually fits a few molds. It breaks them. I'll give it a B+. The story starts where four herdsmen are minding their own business on the open range when the two younger cowpokes beg to go into town for supplies and maybe one drink. Yeah, right. Some bad hombres beat up the duo pretty bad, so Costner and Duvall head into town to figure out what's what. They're threatened by the maniacal overlord rancher that don't take kindly to free rangers, and he sends them packing. But not before sending out his evil minions to kill one of the young herdsmen and kick the head in on the other. Costner and Duvall head into town for medical help and get it from the pretty middle-aged Bening. Once they know their friend is cared for, Costner and Duvall meet back at the herd and plan their next move. Now, I'm not giving much away, but it's there that we realize Costner is not just a herdsman. He's a remorseless killer, and he and Duvall head back into town to seek revenge no matter the cost. The cast. This is an easy A here. Duvall plays these characters in his sleep, and he's always excellent. Costner plays the killer with a past really well. Bening isn't a pushover looking for love. Everyone else is really good, with a small exception of the overlord British land baron. Why do the bad guys in westerns always have to have a non-American accent? Everything else is really good, so that's forgiven. Cinematography, A+. Costner is the director, and he channels his Dances with Wolves gorgeous western plains and Old West towns to perfection. It's gritty, bleak, minimalistic, and glorious all at the same time. This is what the last of the free grazers would have seen before they were pushed out of the turn of the century. Marvelous, marvelous stuff. The music. To be honest, I didn't pay attention to the music like I should have. Probably because the guns booming and the herd noises were so awesome. I felt like I was living in the Old West. I'll just say it must have been an A-ish, which means it moved the story along exactly like it was supposed to. So, based on the above scores, I'm going to give this film an A rating. I was genuinely surprised at how much I liked this film on the second viewing. I was raised watching westerns as a kid with a father that idolized John Wayne movies and Hank Williams Sr. music, if that says anything. But this film was far better than that. It was an updated classic western that deserves to be in the same breath as Unforgiven and the incredible HBO series Deadwood. The shootout at the end is all kinds of intense and satisfying. For people who don't like Costner because you think Dances with Wolves was too PC, I can assure you that Open Range is positively not. It calls a killer, whether he's the bad guy or our hero. Characters wear the same clothes for weeks or even months. It doesn't apologize for characters' actions, and that makes it great. I would highly recommend this Western to anyone but children. The violence might be just a little too intense, so be careful. Great film, though. So here are a few other authentic Westerns that I would highly recommend. Now, I've already listed this, but Unforgiven is a Best Picture winner for a reason. Clint Eastwood is an over-the-hill gunfighter called in for a hefty reward to get revenge on a powerful, corrupt sheriff played by Oscar winner for the role Gene Hackman, who is terrorizing the good, the bad, and the ugly alike, including innocent townsfolk. This is the quintessential modern Western that all others strive to achieve. Second, Pale Rider. Yes, it's another Eastwood film, but you got to give the man his due. He could play the lethal cowboy with a past like no other. In this, he plays a mysterious, gun-toting preacher who comes to the rescue of a small mining community being threatened by a land baron who wants their gold-rich claims. This and Silverado, which I reviewed on this channel, are genuinely considered the films that resurrected the Western genre in the mid-'80s. And lastly, I know it's a TV series and not a film, but I'm recommending the HBO series Deadwood. This isn't all about Wild Bill Hickok either. There hasn't been a more sincerely Western-themed show like this one. Cowboys, prospectors, legends, and nobodies drank, cussed, fornicated, and killed seemingly at random throughout the 3 rough and dirty seasons it was on cable television. And it's surprisingly closer to actual history than you'd believe. There's a reason it came back 13 years after it went on the air unexpectedly to tie up all the loose ends with a movie that saw a theatrical release. This series shows how good television can be if given the right budget, cast, and kick-ass writers. Well, that's it for Open Range. If you enjoyed this review, please be sure to click the like button below. If you want to keep up to date on my future reviews, please click on the subscribe button below. If you want to purchase Open Range on Blu-ray, or if you wish to purchase any of the other titles that I've mentioned earlier, please follow the Amazon links below. If you have any suggestions for movies you'd like me to review, please leave a comment below, and I'll see what I can do. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, be sure to help others in need because it's always the right thing to do. Have a great week.